can't handle it. It broke me. It's like, it's the dot above the I. It broke me. Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to try to talk and not sob because we are going to be reviewing the Good Place series finale, and then because we finally have a full view of the characters and their full arcs and their full personality, and like Dumbledore said, sometimes we sort too early, we're going to sort all of the Good Place characters into their Hogwarts houses, or all the main characters, so...
I'm obviously representing my house, Gryffindor. This sweatshirt looks a lot better when you can see the whole thing.
I'm like a little obsessed with this. Alright, as far as quick review of the finale, like obviously this is going to be major spoilers all throughout this video. I'm going to be talking about the ending of the whole series. Please, if you've not seen the show and you think it's fine to go ahead and watch this, don't do it. It is a great show and it deserves to be watched. Just skip this video. Please go binge the show. Honestly, like I'm a huge fan of The Good Place. I didn't get into it until the show had already started, and then it was on my list to watch, and then I got really into Gilmore Guys, found out Demi Adejuyigbe wrote for the show, and I was like, well, now I absolutely have to watch it. And then the first few episodes I wasn't in love with, and then somewhere halfway through the first season I fell in love, and then by the end of season 1 I was completely enamored, and I pretty much binged the whole show in like a week and a half, and then watched the final season live. So and then got you into it. Yep. Because I wanted you to watch the final season.
We had our anniversary weekend for our 7 years together, and like you were like, want to watch The Good Place? And I'm like, sure. We spent the whole weekend doing nothing but that in our pajamas. It was
perfect. It's perfect. So the show means a lot to me. I love it. I love the way it's told through chapters. It really does feel like a book to me.
They do a lot of things that make it feel like it's the sort of thing where they like just make it up as they go, but it all fits together so tightly that it's like, actually, even if that's what happened, I'm okay with it.
No, it definitely, it feels like a novel. No, and then like going the mental health angle, like I do a lot on this channel, I think that's really important for The Good Place because it is so much about doing the hard work to try to better yourself, which like...
Hi.
Yeah, it can be really difficult because a lot of these characters...
I have 2 therapists.
Well, a lot of these characters, their flaws do come from PTSD, or from really traumatic childhoods, or from really difficult emotional problems. Yeah. Which end up like affecting your mental health and affecting how you see things.
Right, and that's sort of the point, because like, even though you've been through all that stuff, it doesn't give you license to just be a terrible person.
You don't get to be an awful person. Yeah. Like, it is understood and there is empathy for that in the show. Like, it's not like, oh, well, whatever, Eleanor had a bad childhood, she needs to just get over it. It's like, no, this is hard. It might take, like, millennia for you to come to terms with your parents not loving you, or not getting the things you want in your life, or not feeling safe ever in your entire life. Like, cheating is basically just like a walking anxiety disorder and OCD. And Eleanor is just like so much PTSD without wanting to admit it. Like, she doesn't want to admit she has problems.
No, the fact that she has to break down that hard before she says, I just don't want to be alone, which is a very basic human emotion.
Right, that shouldn't even be that
hard to admit.
And I feel like everyone in that show knew that already. Yeah. Like, that's the thing, there's no way Chidi didn't know that
never,
already.
Like, shamed her for it, or like, you know, she just needs to admit this, or anything, like, talk behind her back about it, or anything like that. No, they're just like, yeah, this... We know.
I also feel like the show is a great example of how to support each other without enabling each other. Like, no one enables each other's flaws in that show, except for, like, sometimes Mindy and Eleanor. But they don't, like, enable each other's flaws, but they're also empathetic and patient and understanding and supportive. I feel like it's a really good example of how to be supportive and how to find a supportive group of friends. Like, how to find people that, like, get you and get that your struggles are hard and want you to better yourself and want to better themselves too. Like,
no, exactly. Like, you have to be around people who are trying to improve themselves or already better.
Yeah.
Then, like, in order to actually grow from that point.
Absolutely.
Because
they all
if
really
you surround
help
yourself,
each other.
like, that was Jason's problem. That was Jason's entire problem, is that he, like, surrounded himself with people who were toxic or worse than him, and therefore never had any impetus to grow or like change.
Yeah, I know.
Eleanor isolated herself to the point where she just didn't have to get any better because she didn't have to care. She has no accountability. She has no people in her life.
She basically had to be an adult at like 10 years old because like her mom wasn't a mom and her parents were terrible. She had to divorce herself from her parents. Like, it was basically a whatever, I guess I'm just out, and you're not going to count on anybody if you can't count on your parents.
Exactly. Like, it really, I can speak from experience. Losing your parents breaks your ability to trust people in a lot of ways.
Right, and then Chidi's whole thing was like, you know, his intellect and his rationality, he thought, is what saved his parents' marriage. It wasn't. It wasn't like he actually presented a case. It was just seeing, oh, look at this beautiful child we created, and he does love, and it's right, like, we should love each other. Like, but he's like, well, I just have to solve everything now. Like, he put all that pressure on himself. Like, if I don't figure things out exactly right, I'm going to lose everything. And I can really relate to that. That was like my whole childhood was like, if I don't get everything right, my family's gonna fall apart, the world's gonna fall apart. Like, I just put so much pressure on myself, and that's what he did
and
too.
By the end of the, his existence, he's sort of like, I don't know.
Right? He's just like, this is what feels right, Like, he quits trying to figure it out. Even when he falls in love with...
He quits striving towards perfection as, like, this fear.
Right?
Like, he was so afraid of not being perfect that he was nothing.
Yeah, no, exactly. It just makes him freeze, which is what I do. Like, it's a fight, flight, or freeze, and I freeze, and Chidi freezes. We both freeze.
I fight.
Yeah, which Eleanor does. Like, Eleanor fights, Yep. So, no, I think the show means a lot, whether or not your issues are like mental health issues, or abuse issues, or just general human life is hard, emotional issues. Like, the show is like, it's really understanding of that without also being like, hey, guess what? You had a hard time. You get a full pass. You get to be a jerk.
Right?
For the rest
No,
of your life.
You don't get a license to be a bad person because you've been through hard stuff.
No.
You have to be a better person than. You have to be a good person.
It's very similar to Lost in that way, which I can't go into if you haven't seen Lost yet.
Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
But I feel like this is a more whimsical, focused version of Lost and that kind of thing too. And it just that whole dynamic really means a lot to me. And it shows that like everyone has a hard time. It doesn't make your experiences more or less valid. It just means that you're not the only one going through something. It's okay to reach out for help, which. Because they all needed each other. They couldn't have done it without each other. So, and I love that that's kind of the point of the show, is that everyone kind of does take care of each other. Yeah. Honestly, this is probably my favorite finale to anything I've ever seen. Like, it was perfect. It was a lesson without being preachy or saccharine. It was really beautiful without, like, getting rid of the weight of what the show's been, and it was
bittersweet.
Yeah, very bittersweet. It was so sad, but it was all an earned sad. It wasn't like here, let's just manipulate you and break you apart for no reason.
It wasn't a tearjerker.
It was all very, very earned.
It wasn't like a forced tearjerker. It kind of made you care about the characters and then ended their arcs, which is sad.
Because I feel like everything sad that happened played into the overall theme and lesson of the show and or character development. So nothing felt like cheap or like it was just thrown in to be something sad. It all was like, this makes perfect sense for this character. And even like some of the happier endings are still sad, because like now Tahani, like, yeah, she hasn't gone through the door yet, but she's without the rest of the cockroaches now. Like, it's sad, like, but she also has found her fulfillment now. Like, she's needed finally. And I love the fact that it's not a direct correlation, like a specific major religion. Like, I really like that it's not even straight up reincarnation. It's just becoming that little voice that, Chidi was for Eleanor before, and it's
very spiritual without being religious.
Yeah, it's great because it's all about, like, if you become a good person, that goodness goes back into the world and makes the overall world and the overall universe a better place itself. Like, you become a part of, like, it's kind of that, you are the universe and you give back to the universe, and if you make yourself a better person, you're making the universe better, because all that's going back out into the universe are good things. And that's so beautiful and really inspiring. And I have a really hard concept of the idea of just, like, not existing. So it is, like, still a terrifying thing to me, but it's also, like,
existential dread is fun.
I think I just really cannot connect with the idea of actually feeling so completely fulfilled that you don't feel a need to keep going. That's just completely alien to me. It's also a really beautiful, seductive idea. Yeah, definitely Slytherin. So it takes a lot for that, but I'm not at all unhappy with it. And the last season, I was a little worried that, like, I feel like it's such a good show to binge that I didn't know if, like, the show felt a little rushed to me during the last season, or if I was just not connecting to it quite the same way because I wasn't binging it. But I think now that I've seen the finale, I completely love and get the whole pacing of the final season, and it's made the whole show better to me now. Like, I already loved the show. It was already, like, top 5 shows for me, and now after the finale, I'm like, this is pretty much perfect. Like, I don't have a complaint, really.
For Amanda's less articulate, real-time review of the show during the commercials of the finale, check out the video in the description on my channel where she basically sobbed with me.
Yeah, we just filmed a reaction during every commercial break, and I was hysterical, and, like...
You were basically incoherent. I couldn't get words out of you.
No, it was really hard for me to talk. Like, I was very emotional. I don't know why I thought I'd be capable of doing that. I'm not gonna be okay. I literally, like, woke up the next day still thinking about it and still sad. Ugh.
All right, you want to get to the sorting?
Yes, but
all right,
yeah, no,
let's do it.
Definitely leave in the comments like what you thought of finale and if it affected how you feel about the overall season or series too, because I want to just keep talking about this. I've already been through the subreddit, I've already been through Twitter, I've already been through BuzzFeed, and I just don't have enough people to talk to about this, so let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it.
All right, and now for sorting.
The first one we're going to start with, Michael. So I would say that Michael is a Slytherin.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because he is so ambitious and he will do whatever it takes to achieve what he wants, even if he doesn't even know what that is.
Yeah. See, I go different. I actually think Michael is a Hufflepuff because
I could see that actually.
He is ambitious, but I think he 100% would give up the thing he wants for the sake of other people. Like,
yeah, this gets into the like character arc changing.
Yeah, because if he had to give up the idea of like being fulfilled or being respected or even being human like he gets to be in the end, any of that, if he had to give that up to make like his 4 friends okay, I think he would have done it. Like all that really matters to him is friendship and loyalty and what's right. Like he gets so concerned with justice. He just does not think what is happening in the universe is right. So he will do anything. Like he will use like, he has that Slytherin ambition and drive, but I don't think what's motivating him is actually like the ambition. I think it's just,
no, that fits because
I want to be a good person.
He's actually very quick to give up on his ideas.
Yeah.
And like be like, well, we tried everybody, and everybody else, the cockroaches, are the ones being like, hey, no, we need to fix it. So he's like, yeah, you're right.
And the main time he wasn't, whenever Vicky like ended up being good at trading people and he didn't feel needed, it wasn't because like, oh, this is my thing. It was because my friends won't want me around. My friends don't need me anymore. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And so it was like, it was still based on like, do my friends still like me? Which is really sweet.
No, that's a really good point. I didn't think of it in those terms, but that's, yeah.
Did you catch what his name was on his card at the
end?
It's Michael Real Man.
Yeah.
Which is so cute.
I thought you meant like a business card or something. I didn't realize you meant on the card that came to his house.
Yeah, the card that came to his house. Yeah, his last name's Real Man.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's so stupid. It's so great. I love that the show is so smart and so completely dumb at the same time. It's perfect.
No, exactly. It kind of walks this line between like high intellectualism and total buffoonery. The next one on our list is Janet. I think she's a Ravenclaw because she is so into knowing everything, and she literally in this finale is like, the idea of me not knowing something is deeply disturbing to me.
Yeah, like, that's what I was gonna say. Because like she's kind of like Data, and then like not necessarily having. She's not really wired to have motivation. She's wired to be like of service to other people. But yeah, that's what seals it for me. It's the same thing when she like tries to tune off knowing the time when she's with Jason, so she can just be in the moment with Jason. And then she's like, say I don't know, something feels weird. I can't do that. And I'm like, that is definitely a Ravenclaw thing.
Right,
you know?
No, absolutely. And like, you know, in the earlier parts of the show, before she was rebooted like a billion times, you know, before she really has a personality, she's definitely more like an encyclopedia than a person.
Yeah,
and by the end of it, she's absolutely a full-fledged, fully developed character person, you know?
100%. Like, I definitely think she's a Ravenclaw. I feel like she could be like the patron saint of Ravenclaw almost. She just like is knowledge itself, which is kind of, I feel like, the Ravenclaw goal.
I mean, so is Derek, and he's now integrally linked to the end of the universe, so that's a thing.
I can't say how happy I am that, like, Jason Mantzoukas became, like, the most supreme being in this show. Like, I further believe that every day of my life I'm not friends with Jason Mantzoukas is wasted. And seeing him just be, like, this, like, ultimate being, I'm like, this is Jason Mantzoukas.
We're actually only 1 degree of separation from him, considering I've done a one-on-one interview with Kevin Porter, and...
I hadn't thought of that! Oh, my heart. I need to be friends with Jason. Just talk about Gilmore Girls for like 14 hours straight. Just need to be friends with him so badly. I would literally accost him on the street and be like, stop what you're doing and talking about Gilmore Girls. So Derek is like beyond. And like, I don't even feel like you can really, I don't know if you can sort Derek. Maybe he's a Hufflepuff too.
You haven't sorted Jenny yet. I mean, you didn't officially
No, I said Ravenclaw.
Okay.
She's definitely Ravenclaw. I agree with you. Maybe Derek is like a Hufflepuff because I feel like she designed him to be like
adoring.
Her Hufflepuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. Alright, next up is Sean. I think most people would be inclined to sort him Slytherin.
Yeah.
But for the same reasons as Michael, I'm gonna say he's a Hufflepuff.
I almost went, I'm torn between like Hufflepuff and Slytherin too, because he really just wants to keep going with his friends. It's just his friends are also enemies. He's like this really messed up version of Hufflepuff, but I'm like, I'm very torn because I'm close to saying Slytherin just because he will do anything to get that, unlike Michael. Like, he would be willing to hurt other people to do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I'm gonna like final say Slytherin, because in the end he only like agreed to it because it got him what he wanted, not because it was the right thing to do.
Right, but what he wanted was that companionship of like being with his friends. It's the same kind of thing, but for a totally different reason.
No, but I feel like it was more of that like, you're my challenge kind of thing, and it's fun to be challenged, and I want to prove I'm better than you. It's very close. He's so difficult that it's almost subjective at this point, you know what I mean? Like, I think it could go
either way. It would be a
hat
stall for sure.
Right? And he's 100% a hat stall. 100% a hat stall. I think he would pick Slytherin if he was a hat stall, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if he had the choice, I think he'd be like, no, I want to be in Slytherin, of course.
Especially if he was, like, gifted with the bias of knowing that, like, all the bad ones go to Slytherin. It's like, well, yeah, he wants to be that. So.
No, I think he's a Slytherin, but I would 100%. I accept Hufflepuff, or like a twisted, dark, messed up version of Hufflepuff. I accept.
Does that not sound like something I would try to create?
No, I mean it's true. So I completely accept either one.
Yeah. Next up is Mindy. Mindy is hard.
I feel like I know Mindy, but you've been going first, so I'm gonna like keep with the balance. She is hard.
She's really hard.
She's a horrible person.
I think we can eliminate Hufflepuff because she's just not any sort of loyal to anyone at all.
And she doesn't want to work.
No. I would also eliminate Slytherin because I don't feel like she's particularly ambitious toward anything. I don't know if Gryffindor is quite right because she isn't that courageous either.
Or in chivalry.
Right, like, the whole point of this character is that, like, she is middle of the road in every way.
You need to say she's a squib.
Oh, God, I forgot that was an option. Because, like, Ravenclaw, she doesn't have any particularly intellectual ambitions.
No, I don't think she cares.
If I had to put her in a house at all, I would say probably Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But if anything, just for that last scene with her where she just goes and does it. You know?
No, I can see that. She's like, fine, it's what I do, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know how much of that is her being burned out on the universe, which makes perfect sense for what she's been through.
I also think it's interesting that, like, she lived such a plain existence for as long as everyone else was being tortured by being in the good place that long, and she's still okay, just a little bored and didn't turn to mush. I'm like, what are you?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, she didn't have any of the downsides of either the bad or the good place, because, like, the good place she didn't get, like, bored, and the bad place she didn't get, like, dead.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like,
just
dead in the soul.
And miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it is very middle of the road, which is the point of the character, and it makes her incredibly difficult to sort.
Are you going Gryffindor?
I'm going Gryffindor.
See, I think
mostly because I'm biased.
and this isn't my bias. I don't really want her in my house because she's terrible. But I think I'm gonna go Slytherin because I think she's a weird version of Slytherin because I think she is ambitious. But ambitious for like particular things. Like her ambition is like cocaine and orgasms. Yeah. And that's it. And that's all she wants. And she will do whatever to do that thing.
Which also does sound very Gryffindor in my defense.
It does sound very like, well, Gryffindor and Slytherin are very similar.
Yeah,
it's just like what your motivation is.
Yeah.
And I think her motivation is definitely getting what I want.
Well, what about her time on Earth though? Because like, wasn't she put in the medium place because of like some really heroic thing she did after living a terrible
Not
terrible
heroic.
life?
She had an idea for a type of charity that would save the world and do immense amounts of good. But before then, she was an evil person that was doing whatever she wanted.
That actually fits better with Slytherin.
Yeah. So I think, and even when she came up with this idea, it's like, yeah, I came up with a brilliant idea. I'm the best. It was very much like,
you know what?
Yeah.
Once again, you are correct about this in a way that makes me change my answer.
I just think she's a weird kind of Slytherin because I think people assume that if you're ambitious, you want to like take over the world or have a lot of money, and she doesn't really want that.
No,
she wants to be lazy.
It's that thing we had with It's a Wonderful Life where we're like, George Bailey's a Slytherin.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so is Mary.
Like they're all Slytherins, but they're like different colors of it.
Exactly.
No.
Link in the description. Alright, next up is Jason.
Yeah. He's tricky.
He's kind of tricky, but I'm going to say Hufflepuff based purely on personality.
Yeah.
The most I could say for his ambitions is, again, that they're kind of small, but I don't think that negates the possibility he could be a Slytherin.
And he won't screw over other people to, like, get his thing either. And he doesn't do it to be, like, the best kind of person.
And he's not quite Gryffindor in that sense of just, like, being ultra brave or whatever. I mean, I guess in some ways he is. He's just so loyal to his friends and he'll do whatever, you know. That's
very
what I keep coming back to. And like, I don't know if I'd call him hardworking though.
I think he thinks he is.
Yeah, like for him, the thing
anything's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, he tried really hard to make spaghetti.
Right? He does try. He tries.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Hufflepuff, but I could easily see him being a Gryffindor.
Yeah, I think, like, non-canon, he's definitely, like, a Gryffindor, 100%, because, like, something about, like, when he's like, no, sometimes you have to stop thinking, just throw a Molotov cocktail at it. That's very Gryffindor.
Right,
that
exactly.
Is so,
that's what
like...
I was thinking, but I'm like, I don't know that he would do that for the sake of bravery and, like, the, like, chivalry of it. I think he's doing it more for, like, no, my friends need help, and I can be a distraction. Yeah,
it's usually loyalty or something like that, or
to his homies,
because
or
he doesn't know what else to do. Yeah,
friends,
exactly. Like that's what he feels about his dad, the way he feels about his dance crews, the way he feels about like how he's so loyal to Janet. All of these things. I've been very torn between like Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, but what sealed it for me is in the finale whenever Michael named his dog Jason, and I'm like, yeah, he's pretty much a dog, and I feel like dogs are Hufflepuffs.
Next up, we have Tahani, who I think she would think that she should be a Slytherin.
100% she would think she was a Slytherin.
But I actually think she might be a Puff.
Yeah.
Or a Ravenclaw. Like, I could see her being a Ravenclaw. She's just so much more into it for her own, like, glory. That I'm like, nah, it's Gryffindor. It's gotta be Gryffindor, you know? And you're gonna say Slytherin, and I'm gonna agree with you by the end of it, and that's how this is gonna go.
I'm not gonna say Slytherin, spoilers, so. So you're saying she's a Gryffindor?
I'm saying she's a Gryffindor.
Yeah. I think she is very, very brave, so that makes sense. I think she's a Puff because her whole motivation wasn't like to be the best. It was, I want my parents to love me. Yeah. I want my sister to love me. I want to be accepted. And she is very hardworking. Like even when she was like still alive, and even when she was spoiled and entitled and a brat, she would work her ass off. Like she worked so hard to try to get where she was. And in The Good Place, like what really seals this for me is her final arc is trying to be useful and learning how to do everything, like build chairs, how to do everything, how to pave her driveway, and then being an architect because she's like, finally, I am working, I am useful, I am needed, and to me, that's just pure Hufflepuff because like that's her whole thing is like working and loyalty and toil and not being afraid of that. So I think she's a Hufflepuff, plus she's very known for her yellow dress, so that adds to it to me. But I definitely think she's a Hufflepuff. I think she's a Hufflepuff that like is around Slytherins and whose parents wanted her to be a Slytherin, but she's really a Hufflepuff, so that's where I think she is.
I'm sticking with mine.
Yeah, no,
because I refuse to change another one.
Because she's so brave, I could see that
yeah,
too.
No,
she is very, very brave.
You know, for her to be like, no, I'm not doing either of those two things, I think that's really great. I think that fits with my theory better.
No, and she like pushed really hard to be like an architect when that wasn't what a human was allowed to do. And she's like, no, I can do this. Like, no, she's very brave.
It comes down to motivation, and I perceive her as being more into the like, I do things kind of thing.
Yeah.
Than, you know, like loyalty or, you know, friendship or any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially since she keeps doing it after her friends are all gone.
Yeah, but for other people, like I think it's hard work and being needed, you know? She's like, I can still have work I can do. So that to me feels
I just want
there
to be one Gryffindor in this cast.
Yeah, I don't think it's a very Gryffindor heavy cast,
No,
which is
really
weird because
not.
normally heroes are Gryffindors. So it's really kind of cool that there's not a ton of Gryffindors here.
Next up is Chidi.
It'd be really funny to think of Chidi as a Gryffindor.
I mean, I could actually see a case being made for it once he gets rid of all of his, like, baggage.
Yeah.
Made him the way that he is.
Yeah.
But I honestly think just the fact that his perfect version of heaven was a library, he's a Ravenclaw.
No, I think the same. I love Chidi so much. I relate to Chidi so hard. I want him to be a Slytherin, but he's just not.
It's a little too much, I would say. You and your connection with Chidi.
We're too similar. It's painful. Oh god, I don't think I've ever felt so like understood or seen by characters with Chidi, but like I want him to be a Slytherin, but he's not, because he doesn't even want to be the smartest person in the room. He loves when someone's smarter than him.
No,
he loves when he meets somebody better.
Like,
yeah. He's a total fanboy. He like loves to like go off about it. He wants to learn the whole thing about like wanting to eat words in the finale. But he's like, well, I asked Janet and like she said we couldn't eat words, and I'm like, yeah, that like he's totally a Ravenclaw, and I'm definitely like non-canon Slytherin-claw, so I feel like he's like my Ravenclaw side. The problem is I just want to be like the smartest, which Chidi doesn't have. He's more pure than that because he's, you know, a better person.
No,
but
he's more intellectually driven than anything else.
I can't even think about Chidi without hurting, because his like final 2 scenes just hurt so badly. And also, I swear if they don't sell that calendar, I'm never gonna be happy. I need that. Like, even though I was literally like sobbing and could barely form a coherent thought whenever that calendar popped up, and still in the middle of that, my brain like froze for a second. And I'm like, I need that calendar. They have to sell that calendar. Like,
I agree completely.
Never take that calendar down. It is the best thing ever. And him dressing as a mailman for her, I can't. That's so great. Him dressing as a mailman, I can't take it. And he must have planned it out like way far in advance to make that and do that. It had to be so hard for him, and it was so.
I'm picturing Janet doing a photo shoot,
right? And just like adding in more of the review too. I think it is so beautiful that Chidi really, like, it wasn't sudden. I love that we really watched him grow and become someone who could make a decision, and it felt completely believable to the point where it didn't even seem like that jarring. Just to have him know it was time to go, know he was like willing to do this thing, not have to sit on the bench to think before he left. Like, that is just, and that's really attractive to me as someone who has a very hard time the way he does to like be able to do that.
That sort of confidence and like gumption, like,
just certainty.
Could be a like Gryffindor trait, but honestly, it wasn't foolhardy, which is sort of our flaw.
Yeah, no, it was a very thoughtful. I've thought about this for a long time.
No, he solved the problem of when to leave.
Yeah, no. Oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad.
And so good.
I really love tragic love stories, so this was just really painful.
It's time for Eleanor.
Yes.
Slytherin.
You think Slytherin?
I think Slytherin, because she's so driven and ambitious, but like, again, without even necessarily knowing what towards. Like, she just wants the world to be better, and but then again, she doesn't want to be personally in charge of it. Like, she doesn't want to. She wants to set it up. She wants to fix it. Oh God, she's a Hufflepuff. Oh God.
Maybe she's a Hufflepuff.
Oh no, I don't know.
See, I was gonna say Slytherin because I think similar to Mindy, she's very ambitious, but for not necessarily big things. Like, she wanted like junk food and laziness, and she wanted, to not be alone. She would do like whatever to not be alone and to feel included, which is Huff too.
Yeah, but like,
she might be another Slitherpuff, you know, but like non-canon, I think she's a Slitherpuff because I do think she will work if she has to, but I feel like it's kind of a, oh God, I have to. Like, I do think she's afraid of toil, and like Hufflepuffs
which
are
actually
like
kind of
unafraid
sounds
of toil.
more Gryffindor to me.
I definitely think she's also a Hatstall.
No, exactly. And like, we needed a well-rounded character for this role because like we're all supposed to be able to relate to her in some way.
And she has to be a really complex character, like someone that you could believe shouldn't end up in heaven, but wouldn't quite be in hell, and you could see being a hero but having a hard time doing it. Like,
someone who has potential, really, but also like chose not to be a great person.
Yeah. She can be pretty foolhardy too. She can be pretty brave.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if I'm leaning more towards Gryffindor at this point.
She's very tricky. I definitely think she's a Hatstall, but I'm gonna go with Slytherin because I do think she will do whatever to try to get what she wants, because she's so selfish. Like, she's like a bad side of Slytherin, like being so selfish, and that was her big growth, was eventually learning to like, let Chidi go and accept being alone and not getting what she wants for the sake of someone else. Like, it took her that many Jeremy Baramies to get to where she could do that. Like, even when she was good enough for the good place, she still couldn't do that. Like, her instinct was to like, no, I don't want to be alone. I don't care if you're miserable, you're staying with me,
Yeah, which is kind of where I don't think Gryffindor, because like, that's not particularly chivalrous of her at all.
No.
Just wish there were more Gryffindors. We need more Gryffindors.
There's not a lot of Gryffindors in the show, for sure. There's just not. There's a lot of people like some Gryffindor traits, but I feel like Gryffindor...
it fits with the tone of the story, because like, if you had Gryffindors running the place, it'd be a very different story.
Plus, I feel like Gryffindors would be like two obviously heroic like cases for the good place. Like, Hufflepuffs could be too, but Hufflepuffs I feel like are a lot more complex than people give them credit for. Gryffindors are like your run-of-the-mill hero as a rule, so I feel like they would look like obvious good place people things, but like, no, they're really brave.
Yeah, and Eleanor has that connection with Mindy, where she's like, we are the same person.
Yeah, no, that's...
Slytherin!
I think they're both Slytherin, and just for things that are like not stereotypically Slytherin goals that people would automatically think of. One that I think could possibly be, at least would think he's a Gryffindor. I definitely feel like Brett thinks he's a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
He thinks he's chivalrous. He is very foolhardy. I do think he's brave to the point of being like stupid. I feel like he's like the dumb jock, awful version of a Gryffindor. So you can have Brett.
Hey.
I think the fact that these characters are so hard to sort as a role is partly why The Good Place is so great, because they are really complex, rich, layered characters that have...
Not that you can't be a complex character without fitting well into one of these houses, but I feel like the fact that we can only really understand the characters after we see their full arc through their literal entire existence in the universe speaks volumes to how dynamic all the characters are actually written to be.
They're not tropes. Like, even when they're written to, like, play with tropes, they're not solely tropes.
I love this show. Go watch it. Seriously. It is worth the time.
Or
it's
watch
really not even that long.
Watch it again, because hopefully if you're watching this, you have watched the show.
Right, like, we are definitely going to rewatch the entire series, though, because, like, now that we know everything, I need to see everything all over again and understand it all as it's happening, especially season 1. I want to revisit season 1.
Well, and there's lots of little things, like, the bow tie that Michael gave to Honey at the end is the same one he's wearing in the pilot.
Yeah.
And there's so many things, like, similar to The Simpsons. I feel like The Good Place is very close to The Simpsons, where you could freeze on a frame and find jokes in the background.
Yeah,
I want to do that.
It's a very, like, there's a lot of density in the shots and everything.
And
like,
I definitely want
I got such a kick out of reading the names of the stores when they rebooted
right?
everything. It's so funny.
No, I definitely, or like one of the plans for like how to fix A Good Place was wait for Beyonce to get here and let her fix it. Like, I really want to like pause it and just read every side and every like blackboard that Chidi's writing on and everything like that. So I'm going to be doing like that, but I'm probably going to do like a full binge soon where I like really pay attention to it and just watch it as like one very long movie basically.
Yes.
And just need a lot of Gatorade because I will need to rehydrate constantly because it hurts. And all the actors... Well, and that's part of it too. Like, the writing is so great, the editing is great, the acting is phenomenal, and I think it really shows that these actors all like each other. And I've never heard anyone say that any of these actors are bad people. I've only ever heard like amazing things about all these actors. I feel like that really comes through. I feel like everyone had the same motivation for the show.
It's very familial, you know?
Right? I definitely feel like everyone's motivation with the show was definitely like, I feel like every single person had the theme in mind the whole time and really wanted to get that message across more than they wanted to like steal scenes or be the big star. I feel like everyone's like, let's get this message out there. Let's do something important.
Exactly. They got what they were creating.
Right? While still being dumb and goofy and silly and sarcastic. So I feel like that kept it from being preachy. But I do think everyone had like the right motivations. And like, it seems like everyone in this cast and everyone in this production crew is like a good person that wants to make good things and wants to do something good in the world. I really feel like that comes through.
Honestly, with all the crap going on in the world right now, I feel like we needed something like this to believe in. You know?
No, it's very necessary right now. Like, it's very healing, and in a way, again, that's like not saccharine and not without weight. You know, like it's all very earned.
It's not sugar for the soul. It's like soul food.
Well,
you know?
I think it's great because The Good Place really acknowledges that it's hard to be a good person, but it is worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard to be a good person, and it's worth it, and it's not worth it for your own sake. It's worth it for the sake of the
without
universe.
going quite so deep into the idea of like karma or anything like that. Like,
it definitely plays with it a lot, but it's not like super direct.
Exactly. It's not like this is the correct philosophy to live your life by. It's sort of a very secular version of that.
It's a, you know, do the next good thing, which I think is perfect. It's gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful philosophy. I think it's beautifully done. It feels like a book or a long film. It has me so excited for what Mike Schur does next because he's always been brilliant, but this was so next level that I'm like, what is in you now? Like, what are you going to do next? Like, I can't even imagine.
Everything he touches, I'm just like, all right, I guess I own this now.
And it just keeps getting better and better and better. Like, I feel like he is saying more and more the more he goes on, which is pretty much all you can ask for from a showrunner. So that is our talking about the finale of The Good Place and sorting the characters, and I really don't want the video to end because I just don't want this to end, but I'll probably honestly do more videos about The Good Place upcoming because I'm going to be rewatching. I'm probably going to be noticing more things and thinking about more things, and it's so perfect. It's
Plus,
just
like,
so perfect.
So much of this kind of show is where you're at when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that whole art belongs to the audience thing, because like how you take away from that is very subjective relative to where you are in your progress in your life and everything.
And honestly, I feel like anytime I have to deal with a major death in my life, I'm probably just going to watch the finale. Just realize it's going to make it that much worse, but
your only way out is through more pain.
I mean, that's kind of what the show is about. Yeah, so
your pain does not end when you die. Sorry.
So I'll be back soon with another video. And until then, stay happy, do the next good thing. Remember, everything was fine.
Everything is fine.